I've recently done 2 videos where I've gone through gear that I'm selling and reasons why. In part 2 of that series, here's that video. I actually included the OPZ on that list. And I lied. I couldn't do it. I couldn't sell it. It started everything for me and it just felt weird to sell it. My first dawless creations were with the OPZ. My first videos were with the OPZ. And even now, over 4 years later, I find that every time that I pick it up, especially when I combine it with other gear, it just brings the whole experience to life. So here today with this setup, I'll be explaining the role that the OPZ plays within it all, which I think will demonstrate why I've decided to hold on to it forever, or like till it explodes or something. If you're interested in purchasing any of the gear in this video, make sure to use the affiliate links in the description as well. You know the deal, I make a small commission off of that sale at no extra charge to you, so it's just a great way to support what I'm doing. So let's step right into this and explore how these work individually and how they speak with one another. One notable and almost like funny thing is just how compact each of these units are. They're tiny. To give you an idea, the biggest unit in this setup is actually an effects pedal. So, you know, these are tiny in comparison. And the OPZ plays the biggest role in this puzzle, I guess you can call it. Here is the idea of the track that we're going to be working with today. I'm just going to chain a few of these patterns together to give you an idea. Let's go. So this is just the OPZ part that you're hearing. Next pattern. Sounds a bit empty right now, but we'll fill it up as time goes on. Breakdown. So just with this unit, the OPZ alone, there is so much going on. I've actually muted one of the voices as well to leave room for the 303 on the T8. I won't go through this entire groove on the OPZ because I feel like that's been done and done again here on YouTube. So we'll keep things fresh by using the OPZ in combination with other gear, like the T8, which I'm pretty much exclusively using for these closed hi-hats, as well as this 303 bass is synced up to the OPZ. This is what it sounds like just soloed. Some delay. Reverb. And so this is where the OP Lab comes into play. I'm synced up via MIDI out into MIDI in of the T8. Simple. And so if I hit play from the OPZ, that's all synced up. I've got to admit that I've been so obsessed with the 303 on the T8. This is where the acidy sort of flavor comes into this beat. And now for some more teenage engineering goodness, the TX-6, which is tempo synced to the OPZ, which is, as I mentioned, the timekeeper of this entire operation. I've done a full video on the TX-6, by the way, here it is. And so on the OPZ, our tempo is 130 BPM, as you can see here, 130, 130. If I go over to clock settings on the TX-6 clock, you can see that it's set to source track 1 here. If I want to change that, I could just scroll over. But yeah, it's set to 1. So the audio source coming from the OPZ going into track 1, it'll auto-detect that tempo and sync whatever effects are happening within the TX-6 to that tempo. On effects 1, we're actually set to delay, so instead of having some weird out-of-time subdivision, let's hear it on the drums. Right, so there's like a 16th note thing going on, or whatever that tempo is. We could actually change that if we want to warp, mash, right? So there's all these different settings here that are time synced. There we go. That's a good one. Now let it be known that the TX-6 is best at detecting tempos like with a 4 on the floor kick sort of situation where it's just given to you. If you come at it with more of a funky complex rhythm, it might not stay in sync, and of course odd times it doesn't really do that as well. Just something that you guys should know. It actually goes a little bit deeper than that. So effects 1, if I go to individual channels, I could actually mix that effects in to either of these instruments, right? So this is channel 1 and the T8 is channel 2. So let's hear this just with the on the OPZ. Right, so that's the delay on the OPZ. It's a bit more of a rhythmic thing. And I'll mix it into, right, it'd be a little bit redundant because there's already a delay here on the T8. Double delay, double D. But let's say we wanted to switch that up to reverb. Let's try chorus. Right, so this is an option as well. That's actually pretty awesome. Damn. And it doesn't end there either. So effects 2, there's this option to add a second effects over top of this. I usually use the bit crusher, so that's what it's set to now. There's also distortion, tremolo, freeze, tape, and filter. So back to bit crusher. This is the one, this is like my go-to preset here. Can't really go wrong with that. Effect starting, so then there's this pedal tucked away to the left here. We haven't even mentioned this yet. This is Meris LVX. It's a granular delay pedal. Here's a video on that as well. The effects here are also MIDI synced to everything else that's going on here. So I've daisy chained from the T8 going into MIDI in of the Meris LVX. It's a delay pedal, so same as with the delay on the TX-6, I want that to be rhythmically synced with everything else that's going on. Input of LVX is going into aux of TX-6. Output is going into channel 6. So I'll hit this little aux button on the side here. Now I can control where I want these effects to go. So channel 1, which is OPZ. So we've got some effects coming in from LVX. Same thing with dirty. Focusing more on the OPZ, in terms of performance, it's definitely the unit that just glues everything here together. Despite the small stature of all of these units combined, this is like a full-on performance setup. You could definitely do a set with just this. Even though these are all separate instruments that do their own things, I like to think of this setup, or pretty much any setup, as an entire instrument within itself. And as I step further and further into this hardware dawless world, I see myself thinking that way much more often. So of course, when you're performing with the OPZ, you're bouncing from one pattern to the next, maybe chaining patterns together. But in terms of adding excitement and momentum, I usually live around here on this guy. This is like the performance parameter, performance section, whatever you call this thing, performance button. This keyboard now opens up and becomes like a full-on performance unit. So from F to E, these are parameters that affect the drums, and then from this F to this E, these affect the melodic elements of the track. I'll just run through a few of these on this particular groove. Drums are out. Fill. Lower the drum pitch. Yep. Change the drums. It's a bit random on the drums. If you do the same thing up here, gives you some random notes. Shorten the notes. Right, so you can combine these two together if you'd like. Yeah. And that pretty much covers this compact setup for today. Also should let you know that Patreon members get a discount on one-on-one lessons. Love ya, and see you soon.